There is one question that has quietly destroyed more lives than failure ever could. Should you listen to your heart, or should you listen to your mind? People talk about this like it's a battle, as if there are two voices inside you, one pure, one logical, fighting for control. They tell you follow your heart. They tell you trust your emotions. They tell you if it feels right, it must be right. And millions of people believe this without ever questioning it. But what if I told you that this is the biggest misunderstanding about decision making? What if the thing you call your heart is not wisdom at all? Let's be honest for a moment. Your heart does not think. It does not plan. It does not see the future. Your heart does one job: to keep you alive. It pumps blood. It reacts to pressure. It responds to excitement, fear, stress, desire. When your heart beats faster, it's not giving you advice. It's responding to what your mind is experiencing. That rush you feel when you're excited, that heaviness when you're afraid, that tightness when you're anxious, that's not your heart speaking. That's your mind creating emotion and your body responding. And this is where most people get lost. People confuse emotion with truth. They think, if I feel strongly about something, it must be right. But intensity does not equal intelligence. Emotion is powerful. Yes. Emotion is real. Yes. But emotion is not a strategy. Emotion reacts to the moment. It does not care about the cost. Emotion does not ask, where will this lead me in 10 years? Emotion asks, how does this feel right now? And right now is a dangerous place to make permanent decisions. Think about it. Fear and excitement feel almost identical in the body. Your heart races. Your breath changes. Your body becomes alert. Love can make your heart race. So can panic. Running up a staircase does the same thing to your body as falling in love. So if your heart reacts the same way to completely different experiences, why would you trust it blindly with your future? Here's the truth no one teaches you. Your mind speaks in thoughts. Your emotions speak in feelings. But they are not separate voices. They are connected. The way you think determines the way you feel. Change the thought. The emotion follows. Think someone is wonderful and warmth appears. Think they betrayed you and anger shows up. The thought moves first. Emotion follows behind. Emotion is slower. Thought is fast. And because emotion lags behind thought, it creates the illusion that two different voices are speaking. They're not. It's the same system, moving at different speeds. And this is why people feel confused. One moment they feel inspired. The next moment they doubt everything. One day they're certain. The next day they're afraid. They think, my heart says one thing, my mind says another. But in reality, their thoughts are changing faster than their emotions can catch up. Now, here's where this becomes serious. Because when it comes to life decisions, career, relationships, purpose, direction, confusion is expensive. Years are lost. Energy is wasted. Lives are delayed. Not because people are stupid, but because they never learned how this system works. Ask yourself this: is your life precious to you? Really think about it. Your time, your energy, your potential. Is it valuable? If it is, that's right. Then why would you invest it impulsively? Why would you gamble decades of your life based on how you feel in one emotional moment? Before you give your life to something, a job, a person, a path, you must ask a deeper question. If I invest my life into this today, Will it still matter to me in 25 years? In 50 years? At the end of my life, when I look back, will I be proud of this choice? Or will I feel ashamed that I never thought deeper? This is not about money. This is not about success. This is not about impressing anyone. This is about whether you are building a life or just reacting to pressure. Because here's another hard truth. Making a living is easy. Every creature on this planet does it. Animals, birds, insects. They all survive. But you were given something more powerful. A mind capable of awareness, reflection, direction. You weren't born just to survive. You were born to live consciously. And yet, most people don't choose their lives. They follow pressure. Pressure from parents. Pressure from friends. Pressure from society. One person says, I'm moving to America. Another says, I got a government job. Another says, this is what success looks like. And without realizing it, people start living someone else's definition of a good life. That's not ambition, that's fear of standing alone. Here's the real danger. When others turn against you, you can walk away. But when you turn against yourself, you have to live with it every day. So never do something that makes you lose respect for yourself. No applause is worth that price. This is where logic comes in, not cold logic, not lifeless logic, but clear thinking. Clear thinking asks, what kind of life do I want to build? Not what will people think? Not what looks good right now? But what will make this life feel meaningful when it's over? In the next part, we'll talk about how to use your mind without becoming empty, and how to use emotion without becoming reckless. Because the goal is not to choose one over the other. The goal is to master both. And when you do, your life stops feeling confused. It starts feeling intentional. After hearing everything about emotion, some people swing to the opposite extreme. They say, fine, I'll ignore emotion completely. I'll be logical. I'll be rational. I'll play it safe. And on the surface, this sounds responsible, but there is a hidden danger here. One that doesn't destroy your life loudly but slowly. A life built on pure logic often looks successful from the outside and feels empty on the inside. Logic is powerful. Logic helps you analyze. Logic helps you calculate risk. Logic helps you survive. Logic asks, what is the safest option? What is the most efficient path? What guarantees stability? And yes, logic protects you from impulsive mistakes. But logic has a weakness. Logic is afraid of the unknown. Logic wants certainty. Logic wants proof. Logic wants guarantees. And life offers none of those. If you wait until everything makes sense, until every variable is controlled, until every risk is removed, you will never move. Because growth lives in uncertainty. This is why so many people feel stuck. They are not lazy. They are not weak. They are overthinking. They are trying to solve life like a math problem. But life is not a formula. It's a direction. Think about this. No meaningful life decision comes with complete information. You don't know exactly how a career will unfold. You don't know how a relationship will evolve. You don't know who you'll become in 10 years. If you did, life would be boring. So if logic is in control alone, it will always say, not yet. Wait. Be careful. Stay where you are. And suddenly, years pass. Back logic is excellent at protecting comfort. But comfort is not the same as fulfillment. Comfort keeps you safe. Fulfillment makes you alive. And you cannot logic your way into a meaningful life. This is where emotion matters. Emotion gives life direction. Emotion tells you, this matters. This feels meaningful. This is worth the risk. Emotion is not the enemy. Emotion is the signal. It points toward purpose. Without emotion, logic has nothing worth protecting. But remember this, emotion should initiate, logic should execute. Emotion starts the journey, logic plans the path. When you reverse this order, life collapses. Too much emotion without logic? Chaos. Too much logic without emotion? A slow, silent death. Here's the mistake most people make. They let emotion decide everything, or they let logic decide everything. Both extremes are destructive. Let's talk about discipline. Discipline is not the absence of emotion. Discipline is leadership over emotion. Strong people feel deeply. They just don't obey every feeling. They don't say, I feel like quitting, so I quit. They say, I feel like quitting, but that's not who I'm becoming. Logic gives you perspective. It asks, what kind of person will this decision turn me into? Not just, what will I get? This is the difference between a temporary win and a meaningful life. Ask yourself this. Are you just trying to make a living, or are you trying to build a life? Because making a living is easy, but building a life requires intention, and intention requires clarity. Clarity does not come from noise. It does not come from comparison. It does not come from pressure. It comes from stillness. This is why stepping away from people's opinions matters. You cannot hear your own direction when everyone else is shouting theirs. Most people don't fail because they choose wrong. They fail because they never truly choose. They drift. They react. They follow what looks acceptable. And years later, they wake up with a quiet regret. This is not the life I meant to live. Here is a simple rule that can change everything. Never make life-changing decisions in emotional extremes. Not when you're angry. Not when you're euphoric. Not when you're afraid. Pause. Let emotion settle. Then let logic step in. Not to kill the feeling, but to shape it. Emotion asks, does this matter? Logic asks, how do I do this without destroying myself? That is balance. That is maturity. That is strength. In the next part, we'll bring everything together. You'll learn how to make decisions you respect, how to step away from pressure, and how to choose a path that still feels right when you look back at your life. Because the ultimate question is not, what should I do? The real question is, who do I want to become? And every decision you make is answering that question, whether you realize it or not. At some point in life, you stop asking what feels good. You stop asking what looks impressive, and you start asking a quieter, heavier question. Can I live with this choice? Not today, not next month, but years from now, when the noise is gone and all you have left is the truth. This is where real decision-making begins. Not in excitement, not in fear, but in clarity. Clarity doesn't scream. It doesn't rush you. It waits. Here's something most people never realize. The biggest decisions in life are rarely urgent. They only feel urgent because of pressure. Pressure from society. Pressure from family. Pressure from comparison. Someone else is moving faster. Someone else is succeeding sooner. Someone else seems more certain. So you panic, and panic makes you mistake speed for progress. So do you bet a nag shimmick, but your life is not a race, it's a responsibility, and responsibility demands awareness. Before you commit your life to anything, a career, a relationship, a dream, you must step away, not for an hour, not for a conversation, but long enough for other people's voices to fade. Spend time alone. 3 days, a week. No opinions, no advice, just you and the reality of your life. Because this question cannot be answered by anyone else. What does this life want to become? Notice the wording, not what do I want people to think, not what is expected of me, but what direction feels honest when no one is watching? This is where emotion and logic finally work together. Emotion points to meaning. Logic protects that meaning. Emotion says, this matters. Logic asks, is this worthy of my time, my energy, my life? Here is the most powerful filter you can ever use. At the end of your life, when you look back, will this choice make you proud? Or will it make you shrink? Not ashamed because you failed. Failure is honorable. Ashamed because you never tried. Ashamed because you betrayed yourself. Never confuse success with dignity. You can be successful and still feel empty. You can be unknown and deeply fulfilled, because fulfillment does not come from results. It comes from alignment. From knowing that your actions match your values. This is why discipline matters more than motivation. Motivation is emotional. It rises and falls. Discipline is identity-based. Discipline says, this is who I am, regardless of how I feel today. Strong people do not eliminate emotion. They lead it. They feel fear and move anyway. They feel doubt and prepare better. They feel tired and rest without quitting. If you are angry, do not speak. If you are excited, do not promise. If you are afraid, do not decide. Let the emotion pass. Then choose with clarity. Here's the hard truth. You don't need to find the perfect decision. There is no such thing. You need to make a decision you can respect. One that aligns with who you want to become. One that does not make you lose yourself. Most regret comes from one thing: living someone else's life. Chasing someone else's definition of success. Trying to be acceptable instead of authentic. You were not born to fit into expectations. You were born to build something meaningful with your time, and meaning does not come from comfort, it comes from conscious choice. And so the real answer is not, should I listen to logic or emotion? The real answer is, listen to both, but never let either run your life alone. Emotion without logic is chaos. Logic without emotion is emptiness. Together, they create direction. If you take anything from this message, let it be this: your life is precious. Do not invest it casually. Do not waste it reacting. Choose slowly, commit fully, and once you choose, stand by it. Because the strongest people are not the ones who never doubt. They are the ones who decide anyway. If this message resonated with you, it means you are ready to live more intentionally. Subscribe if you're building a stronger mind. Like this video if you're done letting emotions control your future. Share it with someone who's standing at a crossroads. Because the moment you stop drifting and start choosing consciously, your life changes